Hello YouTube, this is the Bucket coming at you today with a range review on the Armscore STK100. This is sold through Rock Island, so you'll also hear it referred to as a Rock Island STK100. This is an aluminum framed striker fired gun with a steel slide, steel barrel, and it has an optic cut. Now, I gave you guys the first impressions of this gun, and I took it out to the range today. I took it with the Walther PPQ. This is going to come in handy here in a little bit to see how this particular gun runs. Now, when I gave you guys the first impressions, there's a couple things I missed, like the cover for the optic cut isn't quite the same finish. I thought that was kind of sad. Also, the grip, when I put the grip on it, it feels that the length of the grip is a little long. I didn't like the way that felt when I was just playing around with the gun. And when you take out like the Walther PPQ with the grip angles and the finger cuts, man, it feels good in the hand. And it just, you go, man, this just feels like a higher quality firearm. And this is the thing that, you know, Paul Harrell, he makes reference to that'll tell you what that'll tell you. And I've noticed that we as gun people can be kind of snobs, and we look at a gun or we hear that it's from Rock Island and we just see all the negatives in it. And also sometimes something that feels one way is going to be different at the range. And that's why I always like to shoot my guns that I'm reviewing, and why it's so important that you do that. Because I took this particular gun to the Naps today, and it shot amazing. No failures to feed, no failures to eject, no stovepiping, nothing. You pull that trigger and the gun went boom. And because of the weight of this gun, it was like butter shooting the thing. The very, very low felt recoil. This beaver tail makes you that purchase immediate. It gets you a real low bore axis. The extra length in the grip, you couldn't even tell. You could kind of tell that this is a company that's known for making 1911s, because I'm not gonna lie to you, it kind of felt like a 1911-esque trigger. Now, not as good as a 1911, it is a striker fired gun, but it kind of had that feel. Good clean wall. When you hit that wall, you push right through. The reset is very nice. It's a little long, but it gets you right back to that wall again. And man, I was enjoying shooting this gun today, and it was just a pleasure to shoot. Now, this is when we come into kind of a downside. Now, anytime that you hear somebody giving a range review, you have to remember they're reviewing the gun they have in their hand. Now, what I noticed with this particular gun was, well, and how I do it is I take a target and I take the first 5 shots. And again, every gun's different. You have to kind of get accustomed to it, and I was still pretty happy with it. I mean, that's a pretty darn tight group. This was my first shot, and then I was shooting a little low with that first 5, but that doesn't tell you a whole bunch. Then I like to get a big old body target. Now, I'm a poor teacher, and so I can't afford to just be buying target after target after target, and so I kind of share. So this was the body, and that's 50 rounds. So I'm holding it pretty good. This gun will shoot a tight group and hold a tight group. And, you know, again, it was so much fun to shoot this particular gun. By the time I got done and was prepared for my 5 shots to show you guys, again, I'm shooting kind of low. Again, the group's not bad. It's just I'm shooting low. And I actually asked Alex from the Nap Weaponry. She was awesome enough to video me today, because the big baby Bucket could not make it out today to be my photographer. And she experienced similar problems, and Alex is an amazing shot. So it made me feel good that it wasn't just me. Also, when I was shooting, I brought that PPQ along, and this was the 5 that I shot in the PPQ. So I shot a little low today, but that's pretty low. And this is where you come into the blacked out rear sights, which, you know, the UGD loves the blacked out rear. I actually love this sight. I like this narrow post. It acquires very, very easily. And with this low bore axis and with the extra weight, I mean, I was coming up with follow-up shots real quick. And when I started to put the white dot at the top of this blacked out rear and really started focusing, I got to the point where I was hitting a little bit better. And so this gun can be shot and can be shot accurately. But here's the problem, and this is what I'm going to talk about with this particular firearm. And again, this gun could have just been made on a Friday and the sights are just off. That does happen. I'm not bashing Rock Island. I'm not bashing STK. But if your gun sights kind of like this one does, and you're a new shooter, this would be fine. You could teach yourself how to shoot this gun accurately. It's going to be reliable, and you could teach, you know, how to shoot this accurately. Why I would make what might infuriate gun guys is if you have become a pretty efficient shooter, you shoot with your sights a certain way. And what that will lend to is I asked them at the nap if I could do a quick fast fire 15 shots, and they know me there pretty well and they know I'd be pretty safe. And what ends up happening is your first couple of shots, you're going to do what you know needs to be done with the gun. But as you start shooting quicker and quicker and quicker, you're going to end up shooting like you have trained yourself and what your muscle memory will tend to do. So that's where I would say to you, if brand new shooter, you're thinking about getting your first gun, I think this would be a great option. That extra heft, that extra weight makes the felt recoil low. Because of this beaver tail, you're going to have a high purchase on the gun. Trigger's awesome. I think this is a great option. For those of you that are gun guys and you shoot a lot, this gun may be a little frustrating because you're going to end up not hitting at point of aim. So that is what it is. Now, you could file this down and you might make it a little bit better. It's kind of, with that blacked out rear, that could really possibly work and that could be beneficial to you. But I will tell you this was a pleasure to shoot. This was a whole bunch of fun. If you're thinking about purchasing it for $550, this is a cool gun to shoot. If you like what I had to say today, go ahead and hit that like button. Share with any of your friends that you might see. Comments are really appreciated. And you stay classy, YouTube.
I learned a lesson. Never half-ass two things. Whole-ass one thing.